On this episode of China Uncensored, China becomes a surveillance state. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Bad news, guys. America is in trouble. China is kicking our butts. Everyone knows that in order to maintain social harmony, the government needs to be able to keep a very close eye on the public. In the U.S., we only have a multi-billion-dollar intelligence agency listening in on our phone calls, reading our emails, and potentially using submarines to tap deep-sea fiber optic cables between the U.S. and Europe. If the United States keep going at this slow rate, China is going to beat us in the race to becoming a surveillance state. So, besides having 2 million people whose only job it is to look at what people are saying about the government online, and a police and secret police force that gets more money than the army, China has 20 million surveillance cameras set up around the country. They began building their vast nationwide surveillance system in 2005 and even gave it the people-friendly name Skynet, a name that was pre-co-opted by Western media running dog James Cameron in 1984 for the vast, self-aware AI network that wipes out humanity in his Terminator franchise. So, what is this comprehensive surveillance system being used for? What any invasion of privacy by a regime bent on thought control is used for? Protecting people. Why, take for instance the boyfriend of that insidious human rights lawyer, Li Tiantian. Obviously, the regime doesn't want a nice young man to be wasting time with someone like that, so police have been kind enough to take him aside, show him pictures of her previous boyfriends and surveillance footage of her entering hotels with other men, and suggest that he dump her. But the cameras also help protect students from teachers who might have hidden political agendas. Just this year, cameras were installed in Beijing's China University of Politics and Law. A politics and law school is no place for radical new ideas or independent thought. Neither is Xinjiang or Tibet. There's a lot of cameras there too. And it gets better. The plan is to eventually install facial recognition technology in the cameras so anyone can be tracked in real time. When are we going to have that, America? When are we going to have the kind of security every Chinese person enjoys? Take out your cell phone. You know what the Chinese government can do? They can use it to listen in on your conversations even if it's turned off. That's not paranoia, that's just what Chinese state security agents have said they can do. What's next? Putting spyware in a tea kettle? Oh. Now, some may think that there's a potential for abuse of this kind of technology. They couldn't be further from the truth. Why, Chongqing had nearly 500,000 cameras installed while Bo Xilai was party chief of the city. And he did so much more to increase the security of Chongqing residents, such as harassing and torturing successful businessmen. Chongqing's criminal underworld. Bo may have gone a little too far, though, when he reportedly bugged top leaders. He was just trying to look out for you, who? Fortunately, American companies are trying to take these lessons from China home and make some extra cash while they're at it. They're providing the party with the software needed to censor the internet and the networking gear to make this great surveillance system work. Take Cisco as an example. They're one of the world's biggest makers of networking equipment, and they were particularly big in helping out Bo Xilai in Chongqing. The U.S. has these Tiananmen export controls in place since the Tiananmen Square Massacre that forbids the export of crime control-related products, but the great thing about security cameras is they might not necessarily be used to crush a democracy rally. So it's a little loophole. It's like what was said by Todd Bradley, an executive vice president at Hewlett Packard, who helped the company expand in China. We take them at their word as to the usage. It's not my job to really understand what they're going to use it for. Our job is to respond to the bid that they've made. Oh, what does that remind me of? I personally had nothing to do with it. My job was to observe and report on it. That was Adolf Eichmann, one of the masterminds of the Holocaust. After his trial, when he tried to pull the whole, "I never killed any Jews, I just made sure the trains ran," that happened to go to concentration camps. Jewish German philosopher Hannah Arendt, who was at the trial, coined the term banality of evil, that the greatest evils in history aren't committed by sociopaths, but by ordinary people who give up their ability to think. So sure, Western tech companies, just because China's the kind of place where a mayor can leave villagers blind, bloodied, and crippled for protesting forced evictions, doesn't mean that a massive surveillance network won't just be used for monitoring traffic. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.